I don't like making negative videos. I'd rather talk in more detail about all the amazing things that were revealed in the two directs. Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream, Mario Kart World, and Donkey Kong Bonanza all look great, and I do not doubt the quality of those games. They all look fun, and in the Nintendo Treehouses since the Direct, Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza have gotten more details and some leaks, and every little detail I've enjoyed. But every single time, I remembered something. Something that instantly killed all the fun. The price.
Come sing with me!
So, how did we get here? It all starts with the Switch 1. Already, it felt like Nintendo was being stingy with prices. Like, you can't tell me that Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and Mario Strikers individually are worth the same amount of money as Mario Odyssey. You also can't tell me that Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is the same value as Breath of the Wild, or, the newer Luigi's Mansion game. It was nuts. Almost every game they released was $60, even remakes or literally just upscales of old games or spin-offs were also $60. Nintendo really thinks the spin-offs are worth the same price as the main games of the series, which is actually insane. I think SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is a terrible remake/remaster or whatever you want to call it. The charm of the original is polished over. Infamous glitches people loved were patched, but actually confusing or annoying things that were intentional in the original were not changed at all. And the only addition is a terrible, boring, repetitive multiplayer mode. But at least they didn't charge you $60 for it. They only charge $30, which is only $5 to $10 more than what you can find the original for online today. Nintendo, on the other hand, the best we've got is a $40 complete remake. But that's the exception, not the rule, and it's for an over 20-year-old game. And this isn't even mentioning the Wii U ports. Oh boy, the Wii U ports. Mario 3D World, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Pikmin 3 were $20 each on Wii U. Now they are all $60 on Switch, and you can't buy the Wii U ones anymore because the eShop is closed. Donkey Kong Country didn't get any substantial updates, so that's just dumb. And while Pikmin 3 and 3D World got substantial content, that's still not justification to price it as a brand new game. Because they aren't. So that's where we were before, and while it sucked, everyone pretty much accepted it because Nintendo was the only company still selling the games for $60 instead of $70 like PlayStation and Xbox. And also, 3D World, Tropical Freeze, and Pikmin 3 are pretty great games, so you weren't getting scammed too badly, at least not for the Wii U ports. But then the Switch 2 happened. This is bonkers. Let's start with the console price. For comparison, you can easily find a PlayStation 5 to buy from anywhere between $450 and $500. Now let's look at the Switch 2 price. Oh, would you look at that? $450 for the base and $500 for the Mario Kart bundle. Isn't it crazy how the new Nintendo console is a console generation behind the competition as far as hardware power goes, but costs around the same price? It's actually nuts how crazy this price is. And now, I have to talk about politics on a Nintendo channel. So, I don't like Donald Trump. In fact, I hate him. And I think his tariffs are a terrible idea. But, in the case of the Switch 2, Trump is actually, finally, not responsible for something bad going on in the economy in the past few months. $450 is the before tariff price. Nintendo delayed pre-orders in the United States because of the tariffs, proving that this is the pre-tariff price. And if that's not enough evidence for you, how about the fact that it's just as, if not more expensive everywhere else in the world too? And yeah, the United States is a big consumer market, including for Nintendo, but again, this is the before tariff price. They were planning to sell it for this much regardless of if the tariffs went into effect or not. So they straight up expected and still expect you to pay for their console at the price of a new one, despite the Switch 2 having worse hardware. Why would you ever do that? If they want success, and if they want me personally to buy their console, they have to lower the cost to $400, and the Mario Kart bundle to $450. The console price is ridiculous. But the console price isn't even the worst part. The worst part is game prices. We already talked about how game prices on Switch 1 were already kind of scamming us as far as the spin-offs and remakes go. But for Switch 2, it's far worse. Think about it this way. No matter what side of the argument you were on, you have to admit that the concept of $70 games was already controversial. So, $80 games is just insane. It's absolutely nuts. And yeah, you can get Mario Kart with the bundle, but what is stopping Nintendo from doing this for other games? If you let them make a Mario Kart $80, why not the next mainline Mario game? Why not Zelda or Smash Bros? Nothing will stop them from pricing games for $80 unless people don't buy them. So, while the baseline seems to be $70 games, there's nothing stopping them from pricing certain games at $80 just because they can. The only way to prevent them from doing this is to hit them in the wallet early and to not buy their stuff while everyone is still mad about it. Now, Nintendo has responded, sort of, because the interview I'm going to be talking about came one day after the Switch 2 Direct, and everyone was still on the hype train before they realized the prices are garbage, but I'll take whatever response I can get at this point. Basically, Nintendo says that prices for games vary on a game-to-game basis. There is no baseline. Each game's price is determined by the quality and size of the game. This sounds great, but if the prices of games on Switch 1 told me anything, it's that the system is likely going to be one-sided. Sure, there might be some $60 or even maybe some $50 games. I mean, that would make sense, right? The WarioWare games were $50 and the Pikmin 1 and 2 upscalings, if you bought them together, were $50, so why not have $50 games? And while I believe this could happen, I still think that's just wishful thinking on my end. I don't think they're going to go below $60. And even if it does happen, is $10 less than Breath of the Wild, a huge and expansive game, really a bargain for spin-off games and upscalings? And there are still so many things I could talk about that I will briefly cover here, because why not? Just more crap to add onto the pile. Some games, even if you buy them physically, are digital only, but you also still need to have the cartridge in the console to play the game even after you downloaded it. The Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour game is $10. They are charging you if you don't know how to use your console or want to learn how your console works. Reggie Fils-Aimé has recently, quote-unquote, coincidentally, been tweeting about how the Pack-In game of Wii Sports for the Wii was a huge success and majorly boosted sales for the Wii. So if even Reggie, the former president of Nintendo of America, is telling you something is dumb, then it's dumb. You know the virtual game card announcement from the recent Switch 1 Direct? Well, apparently it's actually more limiting than it was previously. Specifically, because you can't have more than one copy of a game in a console at a time. I didn't know this at the time because I wasn't really paying attention and because it didn't affect me that much, and it still doesn't, but this is still dumb. You shouldn't limit options. For Breath of the Wild Switch 2 Edition, no matter how you buy the game, it doesn't come with the DLC, even if you already have the DLC on the Switch 1 version. Isn't this supposed to be the definitive edition of the game? If you want the DLC, it's $90 for an 8-year-old game. You know Nintendo's crappy game chat service with 12 frames per second and 144 pixels gameplay and terrible cropping that is so obvious? Yeah, you have to pay for that. It doesn't come with the system. $50. $50. So, to use one of the functions of the new system, you have to pay $50 more than you are already paying. So currently, you have to spend at least $550 just to play one game with camera functionality for the game chat feature, and that doesn't even include the cost of having a Switch Online membership. If you don't have that, the camera's just a piece of junk. You can't use it. But that's not even the worst of this thing. The Switch 2 version of Mario Party Jamboree, in my opinion, is already super overrated. It's just 2 side modes and camera functionality in the main mode. You know, instead of actually updating the main mode with more boards or giving all the characters showdown minigames or anything actually substantial. Oh, and also, they are charging you the same price for this game as the brand new Mario Kart and the Tears of the Kingdom upgrade. What the actual bananas kind of bullcrap is that? Oh wait, that's actually wrong, because now we are getting to the reason why I brought this up. To use 2 of the 3 new things they add to the game, the Bowser TV mode and camera functionality in the main board mode, you need the flippin' camera! So, if you want the full experience for this game, you have to spend, hold on, let me just do my calculations real quick. $120 $130 for this one game. And that's not even including the price of the console or having someone else buy it all again just for them to play with you. Look, I could go on and on about this pricing stuff and all this other stuff I just covered forever, but I think you get the idea by now. Don't buy the Switch 2 or its games. Show Nintendo that this is unacceptable, unless you want the poor, sweet, innocent billion-dollar company to take more of your and everyone else's money.